Okay, so the other day I made a tweet pointing out this goofy ass article that decided to drag Sonic down for no reason. Essentially, they were praising Sonic Mania but also dragging down every other game, saying that Sonic games haven't been good for the past 20 years.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now.
All this got me thinking, there is an era of Sonic that was just straight else, and it's more apparent than you think. That's right folks, I'm talking about the entire 2010s. Was the modern era a complete waste for the Sonic franchise, and how exactly can Sonic Team avoid making this mistake again for another decade? That's right Sonic Frontiers, I'm looking at you, let's discuss. So yeah, my gears got turning when I saw the replies to that tweet and I instantly got into content creation mode. But hear me out for a second. A lot of people aren't rocking with the previous 2010s era of Sonic for many reasons. It could be the writing, the voice acting, the gameplay, there's a bunch of different reasons. Also for clarity's sake, I'm gonna classify 2010 to 2019 as the modern or meta era and mark 2020 onwards as the new era. New because we don't know exactly what the future holds in terms of quality for the next onslaught of Sonic games. We got new writers and new developers in this bitch, so it's all to play for at the moment. Keeping that in mind, the current known eras amongst the Sonic fandom are as follows: the classic era, the Dreamcast era, the dark era, and the meta era. One could say this was derived from the way Sonic Generation split its levels into different sections, being classic, Dreamcast, and modern. However, due to the complete recasting of the entire Sonic cast, save for Mike Pollock, absolute legend, and the changing of the writing staff to Pontek and Graf, Sonic fans consider 2010 the absolute cut-off for the modern era, as the games onwards have a completely different feel to them, both in quality and gameplay. The Dreamcast era had the original group, aka Ryan Drummond and Co., until about 2005 when they brought on the Sonic X cast to do the games. Sega's thought process must have been, since this new cast has been going for 2 years now, starting from 2003, people are very much used to these voices and it wouldn't make sense to have two casts running at the same time, right? Or something like that, man, I don't know, I wasn't there. So they brought over Jason Griffith and company to reprise the Sonic cast in the games. At this point in time, the writing for the games also got considerably darker in tone, delving into themes such as death and resurrection and police brutality. Hey, hang on a minute, this sounds familiar. People may not realize it, but in many ways the Dreamcast and the Dark Era were ever so similar. Yeah, the Dark Era was more inventive, throwing Sonic into the Arabian Nights and turning him into a furry. Oh, and don't forget that time he visited England, now that was accurate.
You wanna get shanked, mate?
But at the end of the day, both of these eras had Sonic fighting something that was bigger than Eggman, something that had gotten out of control and endangered the world. It felt way more shonen. Now there are a ton of videos already on why Sonic used to be shonen or is still shonen, so I'm not really gonna dive into that topic today, maybe in a future video. But all you need to know is that the stories felt like something out of a kick-ass, high stakes, heavy action anime, keeping the player invested and interested. I'm sorry, I'll stop. Anyways, with all that action packed goodness going on in each game, regardless of the gameplay quality, you can now see how the complete 180 pulled in 2010 is like a hard splash of freezing cold water, just completely jarring. It all started in 2010 with the launch of two games, Sonic Free Riders and Sonic Colors. While both of these games have their own each separate issues, they both share the same cast change and writing change, defining the next decade of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's from here that things were beginning to go south quickly, with a blurring flanderization of the characters in the cast and a vast cutting of corners. A lot of corners. Ironically though, with only 1 day separating these games' release dates, Sonic Colors went on to be considered a success and Sonic Free Riders a complete failure. Free Riders made use of the extremely outdated Xbox Connect functionality, which would have been fine for some people had it not been the only way to play the game. That's right folks, after 2 successful games in the Riders line, they decided to fuck up the third one by shoving in forced motion controls, completely alienating both the fans of the original games and people who didn't own an Xbox Connect. Although the new graphics was a step up for the Riders series, a majority of cutscenes were just moving text and images, something only previously seen in the handheld spin-off games. Okay, and the storybook series too, but at least those were stylized with custom hand-drawn art to make the player feel like they're actually reading and playing a book, whereas this game just uses the same 5 renders over and over again. To make matters worse, this became the default for spin-off games on modern consoles from now, even though the original games on older hardware had fully animated and voiced cutscenes. Sonic Colors, on the other hand, decided to reinvent the main formula by taking what Unleashed did well and improving on it vastly. Yeah, that's what the general public thinks. Anyone who's actually played this game will tell you otherwise, especially Sonic fans. This game is literally a 2D platformer with 3D sections. Hell, even the DS version of this game had more 3D than the Wii version. And again, this is another trend that continued throughout the decade, with Sonic Generations, Lost World and Forces having a completely insane amount of 2D sections. At this point, they should just make a 2D modern Sonic game and oh, wow, that's interesting. Now, gameplay and aesthetics aside, the other major drastic change the modern era has brought is the storytelling. Instead of an epic shonen feel, the games of the 2010s opt for a more cartoony kiddie vibe by completely lowering the stakes and making Eggman the main focus of the games once again. About 75% of the main cast is now nowhere to be found in these games, with the main focus just being on Sonic and Tails. By the way, I made a video on that with my boy Sonicster, go watch that joint after. That's why in games like Generations and Lost World, everyone literally stands there being useless while Sonic and Tails do all the heavy lifting. And in Sonic Forces, where Sonic is presumably dead and his friends have to pick up where he left off, they still do a terrible job and have to rely on old buddy Sonic in the end to save the day. This time, even Tails is affected by the spirit of uselessness and cowers at the mere sight of Chaos Zero. Chaos fucking Zero. Ah! Again, I already made a video on this issue, so I'm gonna save you guys the rant this time. Everyone gets flanderized. Tails becomes a useless whiny kid, Knuckles becomes a big dum-dum, and everyone else is basically irrelevant. Sonic himself, he becomes cocky and obnoxious, cracking jokes here and there that just scream, "How do you do, fellow kids?" The voice cast change doesn't exactly help either. On one hand, we get absolute gems like Colleen O'Shaughnessy and Mike Pollock giving their all and voicing these characters to the best of their ability, and on the other hand we have really miscasted characters with ill-fitting voices. Now, before I continue on this segment, I just want to say Roger Craig Smith is a talented voice actor with a plethora of successful portrayals of characters under his belt. Hell, every time I hear his voice in a random cartoon I go like, oh shit, it's Roger, nice. But at the same time, he is not Sonic the Hedgehog. The writing doesn't do him any favors either, because he sounds like a 40-year-old man trying to do a teenage voice whilst taking a shit on the toilet. Bloody nose hair! At the same time, while I do not like his take on Sonic, this is absolutely no reason whatsoever to send him hate on the internet. A lot of times I see people dragging his name on Twitter, even having the audacity to tag him whenever comparing him to previous Sonic voice actors. He is a human being doing his job. There is no reason to attack him for such. Voice actors already get enough flack for a variety of reasons and honestly deserve way more respect and acclaim for what they do. Even if you do not like their work, learn how to untag people in posts, or better yet, baby not reply to one of these tweets complaining about his voice and say, oh, Jason Griffith is better. Even if that may be the case for you personally, people have feelings and a guy can only take so much before he pops. Like, come on, do better. Now that aside, I will say this: although I do not care for his portrayal of main Sonic, I absolutely loved his performance both in Boom and Wreck-It Ralph, mainly because he had a different style of script to work with and much better voice direction. But you have to give the man credit where it's due, and I look forward to seeing how things turn out in Frontiers. Yes, I absolutely want a new voice for Sonic, if not the return of the previous two, but
I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist.
in the end, Roger is staying and the writing staff has changed, so we can literally only go up from here. It's Ian freaking Flynn, he'll make it work, I trust him. Okay, now I've summarized why the modern era sucked balls and what made the other eras so kick-ass. It's quite obvious where I'm going with this. For Frontiers and any game after to succeed, they need to take a look at why the fans love the Adventure series and Unleashed so much. The characters felt consistent all around with their distinct and amusing personalities, playing off each other as they explored various settings while living and learning. Yes, I said it, deal with it. And the majority of these games felt like they had heart and spirit poured into them. What happened to the crazy high detailed CGI cutscenes that introduced the player to the setting of the game? What happened to all the emotions and plot twists that the characters experience? Where's the flavor? If Frontiers is to succeed, we need a more shonen Sonic who's more serious but also knows when to goof around, and a cast who actually contribute positively to the story. We need gameplay that innovates, that excites, not backpedaling or the removal of certain features. Sonic needs to evolve to a higher state than he ever was. In fact, it won't be enough to just go back to the quality of the Dark Cast games. We must reach even further heights. I believe that Sonic Team has the potential to bring back video game Sonic to his former glory, or even higher. But as you all know by now, potential counts for absolutely jack shit if not utilized. But that was my 2 cents on the matter. So, was the previous era complete garbage? Absolutely. Can they turn it around for the next? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Until then, be sure to like the video, comment your thoughts, and stick around for more content like this. I'll see you guys later. Temzy out. Peace.